Welcome to the Checkered Shorts Podcast, a podcast of three fraternity brothers reconnected by their love of IndyCar. Join us for grid-rival IndyCar fantasy talk, predictions for upcoming races, and reactions to race day results and all things IndyCar. Let's go racing! Hey everybody, welcome back to Checkered Shorts, episode number 27, and we're going to go straight to Professor Dinwiddie and ask him what historical connection do we have to the number 27 IndyCar?
Number 27. What popped out right away was Dario Franchitti. Was 27 when he raced for Andretti Green, won the 2007 500. Actually, his real first name, I didn't know this, was George. He's George Dario Franchitti. So,
was that the Canadian club?
I think it was that very well. I was thinking 7-Eleven, but it could have been Canadian Club.
I think
you're right.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
It's probably a good favorite of mine. It sucks that his career got ended, or else I think he'd be a lot more in the highlights of IndyCar best. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like three. Last guy to win 3 championships in a row.
Yeah.
Won 3 500s in a 6-year span, and was at the top of his career at that time. Like probably would have won a 4th, maybe a 5th even. Guy that just was just super impressive. But I do believe, am I right that all 3 of those finished under caution?
Oh, you might be right.
I know the 2 with Ganassi did, because one was Sato wrecking in turn 1, and then one was in the rain. But I think the 2007 was also under caution.
It was 8. Was Dixon's under caution?
I believe Dixon's was under caution as well. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, good call.
So before we jump right in,
a little bit of history.
No, that's great. I'm not. I guess obviously that's why we have Professor Dinwiddie in the ranks here to make sure we can dig deep for these.
Yeah, that's when I really started to get involved. I always went to the track as a kid, as everybody probably knows by now, but that's when racing I really started following it, getting interested and stuff like that. It was around that 2005-ish realm. So those were some awesome races, man. Yeah. So cool. Nice touch. Good touch.
So before we dig into our race recap at Road America, one thing I did see with all of the publicity out for the F1 movie, I'm not sure if you guys saw the interview where Brad Pitt was asked about motorsports and different things, and he said, there's just not enough motorsports on to even digest. And he was talking about different series. Is obviously, of course, F1 due to the movie, but he said if you haven't been watching IndyCar, he said he gave a shout out to IndyCar in one of the interviews. That kind of blew up a little bit. So
okay.
He's a big IndyCar fan.
He's watching the American product. That's cool. And then I saw a bunch of people kind of chime in and say, hey, what do we got to do to get like a Tom Brady, Brad Pitt team, reminiscent to like Jordan having a team in NASCAR or something?
It would be huge, man. They would instantly be the biggest team in the paddock, easily.
And they could pick up miles.
Yeah. That's cool. Good. I got Brad Pitt just kind of raised up there a little bit for me.
And I will say, from going to the race, I generally don't spend much time paying attention to the NXT races. But being at St. Louis, that was one heck of an entertaining race. And you could see the talent down there in the ranks, knowing that the future is pretty bright. And there's some stars down there.
Yeah. Congratulations to Kyle Collette for picking up his first victory this weekend at Road America.
Because it isn't like other sports where you're born with it, but you're not. It takes some time to develop. You're not a LeBron James just jumping in and you're going to start winning races. Very few and far between have done that, and it does take to get this experience through these sister programs, if you will, to learn how to do it and then get to the big times. I mean, all these drivers go through the ranks, and then it takes a good team and engineer and all that other stuff. But it takes talent, but it takes some time to start really winning these races the way you should.
Yeah. So turning back to Road America, I thought that it was a thrilling race, just from a just general fan perspective. Watching on television, it had pretty much every element of a race that you hope to see. There was drama at the end. The drama kind of fell down towards strategy, not necessarily like shooting it out for the finish line, checkered flag, but there was drama nonetheless. And then throughout the race, there were just all kinds of memorable incidents.
Yeah. I think that last quarter was the most boring part of it, unfortunately. The rest of the beginning, middle, and the 3/4 mark, I guess, all that was pretty darn exciting. And then the cars fell how they fell, and but up until then, man, it was a good streak for IndyCar, good streak for us as fans, a good streak for everybody. Another good IndyCar race, I think.
Yeah, I think Will Power and Kyle Kirkwood made that entertaining on a few occasions. I think they're becoming fast friends on the track over the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any numbers yet out on viewership? Because just going back to the St. Louis race and doubling the viewership, I don't know if it would be out just yet or not. We are recording on Tuesday night post race. But it made for entertaining TV. I mean, I was glued. One time I text Brian. Pat was not able to join right live. He kind of joined halfway through the race and then tried to, playing catch up through the race. But, I text Brian because we had this side conversation going to keep Pat in the dark. And I said, man, I feel like I can't even get up and hit the head. I can't go to the restroom because every time I turn my attention elsewhere, something happens and big, impactful things were happening. Some of that was the back and forth between Kirkwood and Power. That was ridiculous. Malukas spinning out early and I don't want to say ruin another potentially great day because his finish was super strong after the fact. But you can tell that he's on the cusp of doing something special and running strong every week in and week out. And so it was just one heck of a race to watch. And the course was impressive. The coverage from Fox was good. You kind of got a better sense because I've watched the Road America race a couple of times. I felt like Fox did a better job of giving you a sense of what all the acreage was like and what it was like from a fan perspective. You could see where they were sitting on the hills. You could see the people in different turns. And so it kind of made me long to go. Brian said it's on his list. And I think it's fastly maybe growing to join my list too.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
It's expansive, right? Like the drone coverage that Fox has put in this year has been amazing. And it really showed up at Road America. Just and how it's through the wilderness. I mean, you're talking woods, like forest right next to it. And then these campsites and the beach. And like, it's just a really cool, looks like a really cool layout there. Just a good party atmosphere. So,
yep. I have 781,000 viewers, down from 863. So that's by far the worst ratings we've seen. Which is okay, maybe the first weekend of summer type of thing. Probably didn't help. Everybody's out on their boat or on the beach type of thing. I don't think it's for lack of lack of promotion or anything.
No, it's that Sunday 1:30 time. Yeah. Like that's just not a great time for.
And if people were making plans to sit in front of the TV that night, they were probably making plans to sit down for Game 7. Of the NBA Finals.
True.
And most Sundays in my life are kind of based like, okay, there's one thing I want to do today in my chair, and it's watch this one thing. Otherwise, I got this whole list of things to do. And so there might have been people. There might have been people that
do groceries. Yeah, it's a
church, family dinner, yard work, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. But I still think it was a good race in the right direction for all IndyCar fans.
Yeah, despite Alex Palou pulling off another one where you're just like, where's he at? Where is he at? He was, took advantage of the feud between Kirkwood and Power for that double pass, and they kept going on about that. Basically, all he had to do was hold off for them to scoot each other off the course and just cut right underneath of them. So I don't know how great of a move that was, other than just avoiding the nonsense.
But you know what? I don't know about you, but I don't feel like Palou won that race. I feel like Santino was the winner of that race. With all the press he's gotten, and wow, what another great performance by Ferrucci, right?
It's it's weird to say that.
A salute to Ferrucci.
He still has to keep doing it I don't believe it yet. You know what I mean? He's on a hot streak, really, really, really hot streak. Four top fives in a row.
Yeah, and he's got 4 ovals coming, Pat, and we know what he looks like at ovals.
Correct. So I think it kind of jumps into who were we impressed by. We can start there, and then who we were, disappointed in. I mean, Ferrucci obviously was another, top 3, and he earned that one, and he got through tech and everything, post-race tech. So a true third. Hold on, full results. You guys go ahead. You guys dive in.
Well, they use this term a lot in other sports, and you don't hear it in racing very often. But he is the definition of a racing dog. He is just after it, chomping at the bit nonstop, and he's going to race hard, and you almost get the sense of like, it was like Days of Thunder, right? You're either going to finish up there at the top, or you're going to be burnt out in the, getting hauled off the track. And I think he's learned some, maturity and discretion on when to unleash that fury that he's got, because he definitely races with a little bit of fury. But you feel like you could tell he's grown up a little bit in the way he chooses to attack and when to attack.
Yeah, I think there's some guys like Colton Herta that would still argue that he needs to grow up a little more. But yes, I completely agree. Keith, I don't want to steal one from you, but your Grid Rivals pick this week of doubling up the points on old Rosie was a smart one.
Yeah, and so was my power ranking last week. Yeah. I was the one guy that had him in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, Rosie put it together. Like, he probably had the best car. Like, yes, Palou came home, but a lot of that was on fuel mileage. But from pure speed, Rosenquist should have won that race.
I remember we saw Rosie the first 2, 3, 4 races, very consistent. Wasn't there? That was probably the best chance he had to win all season. But
I think he got a little spooked, right? Was that Barber when he had the big wreck?
Yes.
And it's taken him a few races to kind of get that back, but he
got taken out by Louis, so can still do it. A great run by him. I think 2 that we talked about before were Armstrong and Kiffin, just 2 young dudes on decent. Obviously Kiffin's on Ganassi, and Marcus kind of is too. Know how to get there. And
for those of guys that haven't watched the format before, we're on our Who Impressed segment. Because we just naturally just hopped into, after Ferrucci, the excitement just kind of boiled over to Rosie and the rest of the guys. But this is kind of like who impressed you in the racetrack. And the thing to me that is fun, and I guess you could say Palou is to some degree running away with the championship, but the rest of the racing is so hot. It's almost like at this point, I'm looking like who's number 2 in the championship. I want to see who is fighting for those top 5 positions, because there's a lot of fighting going on right there. And maybe none of them have the ability this season to pull him off the top of that pedestal. But these other guys, man, they are fighting like hell for those other top 5 positions.
Yeah, well, I'll give Kiffin credit, because I've been a critic of his. I really thought he was a young, rich kid that just got a seat because of his money. And I know there's some strategy that's played into some performances, but he's a clean driver. He races clean. He doesn't make mistakes. If he gets the speed and matures up, like, I mean, he could be something. I didn't think that was in the cards for him, but he's impressed me this season.
Obviously they kept him over. What was the other guy for Ganassi last year?
Linus Lundqvist.
Yes, I think Kiffin had the money, but Linus probably had the talent. So you keep your nose clean, man, for a couple years, but then you're suddenly getting a push at Scott Dixon's ride when he starts retiring, stuff like that. Right now, he's paying to play, which is part of the game. But keep your nose clean, get these finishes. It should be an easy decision sort of thing in a couple of years.
It's going to take a lot of force, too, to turn that man's head. He's the one guy out there on the paddock where his neck is wider than his ears.
nothing but neck exercises all day.
Is that Patrick the Starfish from?
Yeah, very large, wide. It's like wider than his head. It's really crazy. I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty awesome.
All right, so disappointments. I got to say, for me, last week we went pre-race, and I said Pato does well on these road courses. And for whatever reason, the performance wasn't quite there. I did hear a radio transmission one time where he was trying to get racy and he was complaining that the power wasn't there to overtake a couple of guys. And then he kind of got off strategy, and I don't even know what the strategy was. But, they had him out there running second behind Dixon, but I wasn't real confident that that was going to hold up, number one, because I knew that most of those guys there at the front were going to have to pit. I didn't know that Dixon's was going to come down to be so dramatic. But, I think that's his worst finish of the year. And I think for him and for his team, they probably deem that as unacceptable. I'm sure they're less than satisfied and pretty unhappy, if I had to guess, because he does like the road courses. He likes that smooth layout. He likes the ovals. He openly complains about any street course when he's getting banged around. But this is the places that you hope to see him shine. And I'm sure they felt going in that would be the case.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know where he got lost in the line of schemes and strategy and stuff like that. You'd think even if it wasn't the winning strategy, you'd think he'd still be higher up in that.
Yeah.
A section of the strategy.
Yeah, I think it had more to do with that radio transmission still when he was saying, like, I just don't have the juice to push past these guys. And I'm sure at that point with the frustration, he was probably on the push to pass button. He's probably on the button like crazy. And you could see him kind of weaving in and out, looking at those opportunities to try to go high on the track or low. And he just couldn't make them pay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can throw a couple guys in here, but guys we've talked about all season long. Marcus Ericsson and Joseph Newgarden. These are two guys that on good teams with good equipment, but continue to not perform. And kind of two different tales here. Marcus just wasn't even visible all day. Like he just was bad off from the start. Joseph had a good car, but once again, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's.
I mean, was that like a Jesus take the wheel moment? Was that Miranda Lambert?
I was going to say, who sees that? Yeah. Well, we talked about it before the podcast. He's arguably still the second best driver in the series.
Yeah.
You can make an argument, but he's still really close to the top behind Palou, and it's unreal what's happening to him.
I mean, is he too focused on all this fitness stuff and not spending time in the sim and not spending time focusing on racing? I know he's a family man now and he's got a son that's growing up but something's not right with Joseph, and it seems to have all started about the same time that he and McLaughlin had their little bro split. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Marcus, I think we mentioned this before. Ericsson, I think there's no way he's with Andretti next season.
It would be awful difficult, I think, unless he's got to have one heck of a contract to keep him around for another year.
Right. And then Rossi wasn't terrible. He was 13th. Herta was 16th. We keep saying it. There's nothing else to talk about with them. They just, Herta's definitely better than what he's a top 5 driver. We say it all the time. Rossi, I don't think is, but he did okay. So I won't dog on him too much. So everybody else kind of just fell in place as they normally would, I think.
I mean, Scotty's still not performing up to the standard we thought going into the season. We thought this was his season to come out and shine.
No,
I mean, sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle because he's not out front, and then spinning out and losing his position. But he still finished way down the pack. So the Penske as a whole right now is kind of at a loss.
That dynamic, obviously, with all the changes, obviously will mess with anybody. It's not the team that it was, maybe because they were cheating so much, who knows. But you see a Ferrucci who is pretty much a Penske team doing their things, so it's just a point to think about, I think, more than anything. They are still Penske related, but Scotty Mack, Will Power, and Newgarden are all going through some major changes, and the other Penske side maybe not so much. So,
yeah. Where did I see this week? Is Siegel? Did Siegel pick up Kyle Moyer as his strategist?
I think so. Now that you say that, it sounds familiar. Yes.
Yeah, like that. I'd be interested to see what that does because Moyer obviously has had a lot of success with McLaughlin and well before that. So interesting to see what he can do with that young, talented driver.
Gigantic pickup for Arrow.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
A huge pickup.
And not surprising because Zach Brown has not been Roger's favorite employee.
No, that's a great point. So it's weird to see Penske do this, but it's kind of self-inflicted. Seems like.
So for the first time, we've had this discussion pre-podcast, but typically we got the Kelly Landscaping Shit Pit of the week, and apparently they've been too busy cleaning up after the storms and putting in freshening up landscapes and maintaining lawns and putting in erosion control. I saw at the lake there, so they cut you a break.
Yeah,
what's the deal with the Shit Pit this week? Maybe it's because there's so few laps. So that long lap made it to where
Fox got wind of the award, so they lightened up on the coverage of the pits. So they didn't like the award necessarily, is what I've heard. No, I mean that's the way it should be, right? They've pretty even when we were in Gateway St. Louis, Worldwide Technology, whatever you all want to call it. A lot of clean pits. We watched them and we were counting, and a lot of pits in and out. So, it takes mid-season for some people to hit their stride, it seems. But no, it's a good pit stop.
Yeah. One thing that we failed to mention at the last race reaction, prior to the race, we hit up the Taco Bell at the gas station, at the pilot station across from the track, and heard his team was in there pounding Taco Bell. And so we thought there's going to be a literal shit pit this week.
Wish we would have taken a photo. Don't know what we were thinking. That girl was on top of it too. We running 2 registers at one time. Yeah.
What is that on the SNL skit? Tacos, burritos? Was coming after speedos. I heard is going to have that moment on the pits in St. Louis.
5 of the members were definitely at that Taco Bell. Right across the street. Totally forgot about that. No, good job on the pit crew. Not good job on Fox, I guess, for not covering. Somebody did something. We just didn't see it.
So one thing we didn't discuss early on, because he was on my Grid Rivals team, we're about to do some Grid Rivals talk. Lundgaard, I picked him up for 1 week. He's up there running strong 2/3 of the race.
Yep.
What was it? I can't recall what happened when he got sent into. Was he ended up in the gravel, or where was he at?
He looped it around and then got stuck up against the wall and had to back it out, and then it just took him a while to get going again. And I think he must have had some damage because he never was able to pass anybody after that point. So he must have damaged something in that spin. But I've got him. I had him on my roster as well, Keith. So moving into Grid Rivals, another 4 weeks for
Yeah, so I sent the George
Not true.
Jefferson meme to you guys. Moving on up was my theme for the week because I moved back up from like sixth position to second. And with this one race in between, I don't know if you guys remember, we referred back to the bet that Brian and I had at St. Louis, feeling real confident about his grid rival team. And I said, I'm feeling confident too. Let's throw a sawbuck on that. That's for you guys that aren't over 100 years old. That's $10. And I came out on the good end of that. And so already this week, Brian's does not like to be in debtor's prison. So he's ready to go double or nothing at our next upcoming race, which we got to wait a week for. But that seems like little time compared to what we were suffering through in April and March.
Yeah. My roster's already set. I'm not touching it. Again.
Mine, I did not feel. I went from first to fourth. I didn't have a great grasp on the race, and it shows when I dropped 3 positions. But looking to pick it back up, I have one person locked in for this coming race. Everybody else is wide open. So
I scored half my points with Felix Rosenquist because I also made him my double point driver, my favorite, my star driver, and which they only allow you to do with your bottom 3 largest contracts. So your 3 smallest contracts, you're able to pick a fave driver from those 3. And I chose Rosenquist, and I also had Palou on my team, which obviously is pretty much if you're not able to fit him into your roster, you might start trying to figure out a way to do that because he's always going to score you some points.
Yep.
Although he did, someone said that he went down in value this week somehow after winning the race.
Well, when I first looked at it, it said that, but now it's flatlined, so he didn't go up or down.
So winning the race is just the expectation. He met the standard.
I'm guessing a $27.5 million value is the top, and you can't do anything but go down from there. So,
yep, no, Malukas was my best performer.
So not to hedge your bet. I mean, if you're going into this race at Mid Ohio, another road course, right?
That's right.
I don't know. It's not quite the expansive course or the number of miles per lap that you saw at Road America. But there are teams that traditionally do much better. One thing that I noticed on the broadcast, and one thing I noticed in a lot of the most recent races, is Chevy's getting the hell beat out of them a little bit.
Yeah, great point. Great point to bring up.
And I think that to some degree, there's got to be some pride within those teams to say, where are we at? Let's get this thing going. But it seems like Chevy's have the speed on the ovals, and Honda have whatever it takes to win the road and street courses, because that's primarily been the case this season so far.
Yeah. Well, you have to realize, I think Mid Ohio is Honda's home course, though. So
yeah.
And then there are a couple teams that are based similar, like very close by there. So
yeah,
for a few people this weekend.
It's a great point to bring up. Honda's reportedly maybe on their way out here next season or two.
I heard those rumors now are getting squashed pretty hard.
It sounds like last year was definitely like, oh my gosh, they're probably pulling out. Now it's sounds like it's taken pump the brake a little bit on it. So that's good for the sport. It'd be cool if we got another one in the sport, another topic, obviously. But no, Chevy has to do something. Gateway, arguably, they probably could have won that one, should have won that one. But everything else has been, having only 2 winners and they're both Hondas doesn't help. Doesn't help their case. But no, it's a great point to bring it up.
So I know we hit on it earlier, but we talked about the beginning of the season, selling the personalities and the drivers was a big deal at the beginning of the season. Mid-season, there's one guy, stone cold, Santino Ferrucci, out
He's
there,
my new favorite driver.
freaking banging beers after running out of fuel after crossing the checkered flag, the finish line. And that's got to gain a lot of traction. Like you said, Brian, it's like he's all over social media. They throw him a water. He said, no, throw me a beer. And then he said he was yelling for Spotted Cow, which is also like a cool kind of reference to Wisconsin. But, they threw another Milwaukee's finest at him, little Millie at him. And he respectfully downed that Millie in front of, the number of fans watching on
Somebody
TV.
needs the credit to the guy who threw it. I mean, I don't know how far of a toss, but it's still not an easy toss over the fence. I mean, he dropped it right there.
Yeah.
It wasn't, he didn't have to go get it. No, yeah. New favorite
I got an opinion of who it might have been. I think our boy Mickey might have rolled down there for the start-finish line. Normally he's in turn 4, but he might have went down there right to turn 1 just to see the guys cross the line. And just like back in Milwaukee for the 2 days we were there, he was handing out Millies all night long.
He sure was. That was another point. That was wild to see all those cars just run out of gas right after the start-finish line.
Yeah.
There's like 8 of them, which whatever. I mean, well played on their fuel mileage, but and it showed you how much Palou still had in the tank.
Yeah, right. That he was able to get back around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't worried
that had to be from drafting, right, off of his teammate.
Yeah, right.
And they say they keep it close to the vest, but as a team, is that close to the vest? Did they have to know that one was piggybacking the other and one was suffering fuel mileage?
I think everybody looked like they were right. Nobody ran out of gas. So no, we can make it. You're just probably not going to make it around.
Well, you're talking team orders now. This is F1 stuff, Keith. I don't know about
that. Mike Hall did keep it kind of close. It seemed, I wondered there at the end if Dixon had more in the tank than they were alluding to. And sometimes the announcers are wrong, but I was wondering there if Dixon was going to pull it out there. But yeah, good. I mean, had to stop, so it was a good decision. Finished 9th, I think. So not a bad day.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, good race. Good. Followed right in line with all the others since the 500. Great racing again.
I'd say watching it on TV has kind of made me fall in love with the idea of going. So we're gonna have to figure out on how we're going to fit this in with the races we traditionally go to, or which race it might supplant. But it might be a situation where we head north twice, because I really had a blast at the Milwaukee Mile, but Road America looks like one heck of a time.
Yep, I agree. I think that goes into next few topics we can put in there. Silly season kind of coming up, and then next year's schedule. They're only going to have so many races, so just to the fans, if you got any highlights, questions, comments about any of those things, let us know.
New car as well. New car coming in 28. So.
Yep. Oh yeah, good call. So plenty to talk about mid-season just besides racing, so that's good for us.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us on episode 27 of Checkered Shorts. We will catch you later, and we'll be back with some additional information on a future episode. We're probably going to try to fit in a 28 prior to pre-race for Mid-Ohio. So we'll catch you soon.
See y'all.
Take care.